So what is the intelligence explosion? It's a big fucking boom. It happens when AI capabilities are gonna be so advanced that we'll have completely lost the plot and there's no way to know what the AIs are actually up to. To visualize intexp though, you need to have a timeline here from the early days of advanced LLMs in 2023 and all the way into the future, where the machine era will start. What you see on this chart here on the y-axis is the intelligence as measured in IQ. And so the question is, when are they going to reach the threshold where they're going to be able to make themselves smarter? And that is called recursive self-improvement. Let's start with that one. It's over here, RSI. How effectively AI can improve itself once past the threshold. The level of intelligence which AIs will require to be able to meaningfully make themselves smarter. By default, this bar is set to 180. It's a very high bar. 180 is only a handful of people, something like 1 in 100,000 people. But if you buy the hype and pull this all the way up to the hype territory, you could have this automated AI research which starts already at 150 IQ. In which case we have already unlocked it. Recursive self-improvement is the most important aspect of the intelligence explosion. But what is going to give the chart a sustained growth? Let's go through all these other reasons. On the website, intexp.xyz, if you click on the menu, you have the intexp parameters. And for each intexp parameter, you need to know how much they weigh. Do they really matter, or are they just a side note, a detail? And I define importance by multiplying their probability and the impact. And now let's get into intexp bootcamp. What's algorithmic progress? It's a rate of improvements in AI algorithm efficiency, like improving a car's fuel efficiency. Same hardware can do way more. And as you adjust algorithmic progress, the curve is going to change. At full hype, you have 1.6 IQ points per month coming from algorithmic progress alone. But pull it down all the way to hater territory, it's gonna be 0. But Parzival, why is this fucking curve still going up, you ask? Well, that's because all these other factors. Let's try to fuck with the compute one here. So compute is easy, it's how much computing power you have, and that is growing super fast. This effect is even stronger than the algorithmic progress one. You have 1.2 IQ points per month at the smart setting. But jack it up to max, and you got 2.4 IQ points per month, bringing the Singularity to August 2026 in this case. But now let's play devil's advocate. Let's pull it all the way down and suppose that Taiwan gets bombed tomorrow and the Singularity is in January 2027. Let's tackle number 3. It's a technical one. Reinforcement learning and self-play. It's when your AI manages to teach itself and producing better training data for the next generation of AIs to be better at coding and reasoning. Are you bullish on RL? Let's have an explosion in June 2026. But let's suppose we don't believe that shit. Maybe it's never gonna work that AI will teach its next AI versions through reinforcement learning. Then we get down to a sad linear regime where the intelligence explosion happens off the charts, probably in 2028 or 2029. But remember, this supposes that you are playing devil's advocate on all these very, very strong arguments. So let's hit reset and adjust our curve back to something more reasonable. Another driver of the intelligence explosion, number 4, is inference time scaling. Longer inference time allows AIs to refine their answers. Basically, AI is getting smarter through thinking longer. It's not a question if, but a question of how much this is already playing out. And if you're reading what I'm reading online, then you're definitely in hype territory with that one. But hey, maybe somehow inference time scaling is actually never going to happen. They'll push the Singularity a couple months out. At place number 5, we have the holy scaling laws. If you put more data and more compute on an AI, it's just going to get smarter. Do you think the scaling laws will break down?
Maybe the music will stop at some point. We don't know for sure. You know, what I always say about the scaling laws is like, there's no one should believe that there's some, fundamental physical law that means they're going to continue. It's an empirical observation. They could stop at any time. I've been watching them for 10 years, and my belief that my guess that they won't is just based on the amount of time I've been watching them so far.
But if you're comfortable extrapolating straight lines on a chart, you will conclude that intexp is closer than we ever thought. Private public data, the difference between your AI and Sam Altman's AI. The leading AI research labs spend months before they release a model. But It doesn't mean that they are not using them, and it doesn't mean they do not internally have the capability. The singularity, the runaway intelligence, the rogue AI which will take over the world will probably not come from your phone, but from within a lab. And so the question is, how much is that difference in IQ between what you have on your phone and what Sam Altman has in his data center? If you push it all the way up, it gets a 20 IQ boost, which I argue is not even that bullish. And if you believe that you have the best AI in the world on your phone right now, then you're gonna wanna pull it up all the way to 0. And if you just wanna fuck around, then you're gonna pull it up and down and up and down and up and blah, 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 blah. New ML, machine learning paradigms. It's basically the transformer reimagined. If someone comes out with a better way of training AIs, a completely new paradigm in how AIs are trained, and by the way, this could have already happened internally, then it's going to mean an immediate boost to your base IQ today. Boom! So there you go, friends. This is the lay of the land. If you want to know my base case, you should hang on. So let's click reset again. So the parameters where I'm more optimistic, more bullish than this chart shows is RSI. What is recursive self-improvement going to do to that chart? Because once you crossed this threshold, you're off to the races. AI making better AI, and the better AI making even better AI even faster. To be fair, my threshold is also lower. But let's talk about full recursive self-improvement, not just increased productivity of actual human AI researchers, which is already happening today. The new ML paradigms are one-offs. Maybe it happens, maybe not. So let's be conservative and let's not fuck with that one. The difference between the best AI that you get to use and the ones in the labs, I think, is actually way bigger than people realize. In part because these are trade secrets, and the intelligence agencies need to keep them secret. The scaling laws may or may not continue. I'm gonna pull this down a little just to be a little more conservative, to have a more realistic assessment here. Inference time scaling is huge, especially if you're the one with a bunch of GPUs, so I'm gonna leave it in smart. Reinforcement learning and self-play to me is another huge unlock. And it not only contributes to the linear component of the intexp curve, but also to the exponential part. As you train better and better AIs, they're gonna be better and better at teaching the next one. So I'm just gonna go full hype on that one. Compute growth may slow down, or maybe there's gonna be a war with Taiwan falling. Let's just be a little more conservative on that one. And let's suppose that algorithmic progress is just not gonna continue the way it has for the past 20 years. And voila, ladies and gentlemen, this is my base case for when the human era will end. It is February 2026, and that's my median estimate. I believe that with a 50% likelihood, the human era will end by February next year, 70% likely by the end of 2026, and 90% likely by 2030. But that's just my gut feeling. I cannot see into the future. I do not have a magic fucking orb, and so I'm asking you, when do you think the singularity is going to happen, and how is it all going to be after that? Are we going to survive the singularity? Are we all going to die? Are we going to heaven and become gods ourselves? Or is shit just gonna go on as usual? I have a P-Doom calculator, which shows you roughly how I think about this question and my gut feeling about our odds. 73% utopia and 27% doom. So I'm wishing you an amazing singularity, an amazing ride up the curve, and I love you.